The story begins with a man betrayed by his own brother. His name is Cyan Vert, a man who dedicated his entire life to the clan. He never desired power, fame, or wealth. Instead, he remained faithfully by his brother's side, living like a shadow. That brother was Vert, the very man who would ultimately betray him. Cyan was confused. Why? After everything he had done for the clan, for the people, and especially for Ashel, why would he be cast aside like a traitor? He had fought in every battle, every war, every uprising, all under Ashel's command. But there was a reason. Whenever Cyan used his powers, a dark, ominous fog would surround his body, making him appear more like a murderer than a man. In the eyes of others, he had become something monstrous, something inhuman. He had helped Ashel win the Succession War. He stood at his side when they raided the Demon King's army. He bled for him during the Great War to unify the continent. Cyan had served like a loyal dog for 20 years, and now that loyalty was repaid with betrayal. Consumed by rage, Cyan decided to strike back. He prepared his final attack, aiming for Ashel's weak point, determined to end him so he could never regenerate. But before he could land the blow, Boris intervened. The attack failed. His all-out assault couldn't even scratch Ashel. That was the end of Cyan's life, or so it seemed. But death was just the beginning. Cyan awoke to a scolding voice. Emily, his maid, was angry that he overslept. He blinked in confusion. Emily? The last time he saw her was 20 years ago. And the room, he recognized it. The furniture, the scent, the sunlight. It was from his youth. Somehow, he had regressed. He was once again young Master Cyan. Emily reminded him about his training. Cyan remembered this was the day of the annual duel held by the Vert clan duchy, an event so important that even the Duke, his father, attended. His opponent? Cyan Vert, his half-brother. Cyan was the son of Margaret Erzeth, the Duke's wife, while Cyan was the bastard son. In his past life, this duel marked his downfall. Cyan defeated him, mocked him, and humiliated him in front of everyone. The Duke, disappointed, ignored him ever since. Emily suggested surrendering to avoid the shame again, but Cyan refused. If he could change the outcome of this fight, maybe, just maybe, he could change his fate. As the Duke raised his hand to begin the duel, Cyan attacked first. But to Cyan, his movements were slow, like a crawling snail. With minimal effort, Cyan dodged, deflected, and countered. A single kick knocked Cyan down. The duel could have ended with Cyan placing his sword to Cyan's throat. But he remembered the torment, the bullying, the laughter. He wouldn't just win. He would destroy Cyan's pride. Cyan beat Cyan into the ground. The result, Cyan lost. After the duel, Cyan was summoned by the Duke. On his way, he encountered Margaret. She was furious that Cyan had asked if Cyan was okay. She insulted Cyan's mother. Cyan, boiling with anger, held back. He didn't retaliate, not yet. He would make her suffer more by crushing Cyan completely in the academy. Margaret tried to slap him, but a knight stopped her. That knight was Yulkin, a high-ranking retainer of the Duke. He reminded her that the Duke had summoned Cyan. Even she couldn't disobey. Cyan met his father, Duke Willius Vert, the guardian of the continent, the hero who held back the demon. Invasions for decades. To many, he was a legend, but to Cyan, he was a man burdened by duty. The Duke asked how Cyan had dodged Cyan's sword so accurately. Cyan lied. He said he had been secretly training every night. The Duke was skeptical. Cyan had no prior interest or talent in swordsmanship. Still, he continued questioning him. The Duke noted that Cyan's punishment of Cyan was excessive, but Cyan knew this was a test. His father was probing his character. Cyan replied confidently, I wanted to prove that I'm better than Kranz. The Duke, surprisingly, was satisfied. He then told Cyan he could ask for any reward. At that moment, memories of betrayal surged. Through Cyan's mind, Ashel's betrayal, his own death. This time, he would carve a new destiny. He asked to be sent to the front lines. The Duke hesitated. The Lamia Valley, the battlefield Cyan requested, was a demonic wasteland. Only the strongest survived there. So the Duke gave him a condition: become worthy within 1 month. Cyan knew he wasn't strong enough yet, but he had 2 advantages: his past life's combat sense and a small spark of magic within him. Before he could begin training, his sister Alice arrived, furious. She had heard Cyan wanted to go to the battlefield. She challenged him to a duel. Endure my attacks for 3 minutes, then I'll approve. The fight began. Alice struck with force, but Cyan blocked. Her attacks rained down, and Cyan struggled, not to win, but to restrain himself. His skills were lethal. As the time wore on, Alice unleashed a 6-star spell by mistake. Cyan couldn't block it. He braced for death. But Yulkin intervened, stopping the fight. Alice cried. She had lost control. She only wanted to protect her brother. To stop him from throwing his life away, Alice was called the God's Child. She excelled in every field: beauty, talent, strength. She was destined to be a guardian of the continent. But Cyan remembered. She died young, a casualty in the war. He swore to protect her. Later, Yulkin began secretly following Cyan under the Duke's orders. Cyan noticed but said nothing. After a long day, Cyan collapsed into sleep. The next day, training resumed. Cyan focused on physical strength, but he soon hit his limit. Then, a package arrived from Alice, a vial of hellhound blood. To others, it was poison, but Cyan knew better. In his past life, he had consumed it. It permanently boosted mana and strength. He drank it, holding back his gag reflex. 2 weeks passed. Cyan waited for the perfect moment, when Yulkin was away on duty. He slipped away into the mountains. Why? Because he remembered something that hadn't happened yet. Soon, Ashel would receive a divine revelation about an ancient temple hidden in these mountains. But Cyan remembered it now. He arrived at the ruins, a temple once devoted to the god of light, erased from history after the demon god war 300 years ago. Inside, the holy sword rested, blessed by the light. It had once turned the tide of war. But in Cyan's past, this same sword was claimed by Ashel and used to kill him. Cyan reached for it. As expected, nothing happened. But the sword wasn't his goal. He opened a hidden path, deeper into the temple. There, he found the demonic sword, Kiaram. Kiaram, a sword capable of taking human form, would control any unworthy wielder. But Cyan had already mastered her once before. He explained his past life to Kiaram, but she didn't understand. Still, she accepted him. Cyan then shattered the holy sword's handle. Why? Because he knew if Ashel ever laid hands on that blade again, history would repeat itself, and Cyan refused to die the same way twice.